Michael is back on Friday.
That's right. Friday. Yankees Red Sox.
Oh, I can't wait. That's all I'm thinking about for this week.
God, there was a time, Peter, where Yankees Red Sox, that was just, that would be the show. But the Red Sox are okay, not great. Yankees one of the best teams in baseball, but I don't know. I'd love to hear from Yankee fans. Like, is that anything anymore? The way you feel about the Astros, the way you feel about the Rays in recent years, now the Orioles, who are clearly the second best team in the division. Like, does Yankees Red Sox really do anything for you? Maybe if you're of a certain age, but I bet you there's a whole generation of fans who are like, it's not a thing anymore. It's just, it's a rivalry, but there's got to be something that has happened recently to get you fired up about it, and there really hasn't been anything. I mean, Anthony, you're of a certain age. Does the Red Sox do anything for you other than because it was once upon a time a thing?
It's still pretty exciting when you go to the games. Like, you still feel the vibe of Yankees Red Sox as the rivalry, but look, the Rays have given much more headaches to the Yankees over the last couple of years. The Astros have given more headaches to the Yankees. Yeah,
they're just more teams. They're just more teams that you probably hate and more teams that you're concerned about right now. But honestly,
it could come back when they start.
Well, of course, like anything else, but it's got to have something going on, and I think it's been a good decade since the last time they played in the wild card game. But it's been a while since there's been like anything. But, Michael will be back for that. And we'll see what kind of juice it has. But right now,
I'm not
Yankees don't have a rival in the American League in my mind.
I'm not sensing tons of juice. I'm not sensing.
Well, right now, the Yankees are the juice.
That's all the juice.
And when they play, it's become a thing. And I really feel, with the Gleyber Torres stuff aside, this might be the first time in a long time, Peter, that I feel like even Yankee fans are enjoying this run. They understand it's got to be about a championship and all that, but you're going to have some fun here. The Knicks and Rangers took us a certain distance, and we appreciate that. They took us to June. But now the Yankees are what's going to drive us until camps open and until we kick off for real in September with the NFL. And I think Yankee fans are really excited about this team because Judge is Judge. Soto's been terrific. This pitching staff was an underdog and now has become absolute. You're seeing stars in the making with this pitching staff. There's very little to complain about. It's not going to be like 2 summers ago where they were the best team in baseball and all anybody complained about was Gallo and this and that. I think this is going to be a fun summer, Peter. And maybe the Mets can do a little something. I'm not holding out hope. I think it's just kind of relying on the Yankees and waiting for football.
On the Yankees Red Sox, look, I respect and know why media always try to hype it up, trying to live in the pre-2004 days. But in my mind, as a Yankee fan, the rivalry died in 2004. And it's been very one-sided since, considering, the Red Sox have won quite a few more championships than the Yankees have since then. It doesn't do anything for me anymore. It's not a premium game in my mind. The players aren't still there who you knew hated each other. There's no Pedro. There's no Clemens. And so I don't know if we'll ever see a rivalry like that again with the Red Sox, because, it's more so there with the Astros and the Yankees now.
Well, because there's a reason they hate them, because they cheated. But what's interesting, Andrew, and I don't mean to jump you, but it sounded like you loved the rivalry because it was one-sided in the Yankees' favor, and now you've kind of lost interest because it's one-sided the other way. You would think after blowing a 3-0 series lead in 2004 that would add to the rivalry, because finally the Red Sox punched back.
Right, you would think that, but I think and I'm 33, turning 34. I was at the Jeter dive game. That was on my 14th birthday. I was there. It was amazing. But I think that part of that charm of that rivalry was, the 1918 chant, was that you knew that the Red Sox would eventually fumble the bag and they would do something. And I get it. This is all coming from one side on the Yankee standpoint thing here, but I don't get the same vibe that Red Sox fans feel the same way too, because it always felt like the Red Sox were trying to punch up. It's like, eventually we'll get there. We will get to, over the Yankees and we'll win. And it just feels like once they won, it's like, okay, it's over.
But I'm not mad at you, Andrew, but I think, but this, what you just said kind of confirms the theory that I've always had, that people do not define rivalries the right way. To me, like, a rivalry is when both sides are kind of equal, they go back and forth, they hate each other for that reason. But if it's so one-sided, like I never understood, why is Yankees Red Sox a rivalry? Up until 2004, the Red Sox folded every time they went up against the Yankees. How is that a rivalry? It's kind of like Bulls-Knicks. Why were the Bulls-Knicks a rivalry? When Jordan was there, it was just the Knicks always lost. Peter, isn't a rivalry, I'm not saying it's got to be 50-50, we got to have a little back and forth.
Well, yeah, I mean, a rivalry gets killed when it's no longer interesting because it's dominated.
But he just said he lost interest once the Red Sox punched back. That should add to the interest of a rivalry.
It could be point fraud. It's a horrible point. The second the Red Sox...
No, but I think there's a lot of people that feel the same way as him.
Well, no, but they're wrong. The reason the rivalry is not good is because now, over the last decade, things have shifted and they don't seem to ever be good at the same time, or at least really competing for a championship at the same time. Why would it have gotten worse? You should now hate the Red Sox. After 2004, the Yankees fans should absolutely loathe the Red Sox. It's just that recently, it's hard to even remember it because the Astros have owned the Yankees so badly. That's kind of the problem.
And even that's not really a rivalry because the Astros own the Yankees, but at least I can get the feeling of they cheated and now you hate them. Like I always wondered, I'd ask Yankee fans, like, why do you hate the Red Sox? In every big spot, they'd fold. Like, I almost think you would want to play the Red Sox because they were going to come up with Bucky Dent, Aaron Boone. They were always going to find a way.
So what you're saying is the rivalry didn't start meaning anything in a real way to you until 2004. Well, once they punched back.
Well, I just feel like now you got something. Now the little engine that finally could. So now isn't that now you got a rivalry? Now you got a little back and forth.
Right, before
I never felt any back and forth. They sold Babe Ruth to the Yankees, and then starting then, they were just your punching bag.
Right.
Now I understand why a Yankee fan would enjoy that.
Yeah, but it's not a rival.
But how does that make it a rival if they didn't? They never punch back. Now, there were times that they won and the Yankees didn't, like winning the division in '86 and all that. But whenever they would go head-to-head, Peter, the Red Sox just handed to them until '04.
Hey, but just quick to your point, I was thinking about it this morning, actually. You know, you go back to guys, like who would have been my dad's age, the Kansas City Royals, huge rival to the Yankees at that time. And as baseball evolves, I mean, I think of the Angels and the Tigers, obviously the Red Sox too, growing up. But this is strictly an MLB problem. They can't. It goes back to their inability to market the sport. I mean, you look at the Steelers and the Browns. They haven't been really great at the same time going back decades. There's always juice in that rivalry, and that's probably not even a top 5, top 7 rivalry in the NFL. I think once you get in the postseason stage, well, that's like manufactured. There you go. It's a big stage. But for a regular season game in June, I'm up for it. I'm a diehard. Those games are on national TV. They will not see the same, obviously, because the play on the field, but also the inability over the years, and this has been snowballing for a while, to market the game. It's a shame because best rivalry in sports right now, I would not say so. In American sports of all time, I think that's still the answer.
Well, here's another problem that the only thing that you can develop a rivalry in nowadays is when you meet in the playoffs. And the only way the Yankees and the Red Sox can meet in the playoffs is in the wild card. Now, back in the day when you were competing to win the division and only 4 teams went to the playoffs, it was a big deal, that regular season rivalry. But now that you've added wild cards, a second wild card, now a third wild card, why do you think Yankee Astros are such a big deal? They played in the League Championship Series. So for a long time, Yankees, Red Sox, all you had was the regular season. And then 03 and 04, when they were playing in the League Championship Series, that was when it was really at its height. And Pedro throwing Zimmer down and all that, where you really had hatred. But most of that comes from the postseason. I don't know how baseball can market it any differently, Peter. Every time the Yankees and Red Sox play, Saturday's on Fox, Sunday's
they
ESPN,
try.
Sunday Night Baseball. I don't know how else you could promote it. The fact is that the Yankees and the Red Sox, over the last 20 years, since 04, how many times can you say have they been the 2 best teams in baseball, that they've really been going head-to-head? I mean, I think most recently it's been Yankees-Astros, it's been Yankees-Rays, now it's Yankees-Orioles because the Orioles are so good. They haven't been both really good in a long time, and I think that's why it's kind of died.
I think the Yankees Red Sox rivalry was driven by the Red Sox hate for the Yankees and not the other way around. You know, I'm 40. I don't know what the rivalry was like before that, but you know, the living uptown, the Dominicans uptown always loved the Red Sox. You know, I never felt any hatred up there. I went to college in Boston. My sister went to high school in Boston, and for wearing a Yankee hat up there, I almost got killed multiple times. And so there was always a massive hate for the Yankees. Yankees #1 payroll. The Red Sox #2.
Yeah.
The Yankees they just couldn't pull past the Yankees, and so they always hated the Yankees. Right? We stole Babe Ruth, that whole curse stuff, but we never. I don't think it was as much cared for here. Like you wanted to beat them, but because they hated you.
But you did hate Ortiz, didn't you?
I did hate Ortiz, but
and you did hate Pedro.
Yes. Well, I mean, Ortiz, I hated less than Pedro. Pedro, I kind of hated.
Well, he hit Jeter, remember?
Yeah. But as a whole, I think once the Red Sox won, then they didn't hate the Yankees anymore. They didn't hate New York anymore. And so, like, screw them. They're just another team that we have to bulldoze.
Yeah, you're actually you're being logical because, like, why would you hate the team that always helped you win the championship because they couldn't beat you? But there were people to hate. You hated Roger Clemens. You hated Pedro Martinez. You hated David Ortiz. But up until 2004, they always found a way to lose. So you're right. Why would you hate them? But I think a lot of Yankee fans still looked at them as their #1 rival.
Sure.
Thanks for the call, Gio.
Good stuff.